Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of Generation Rising. Thank you for joining us. My guest today is Lee, and we talk about the sad state of affair and a nihilistic viewpoint of and awaiting the arrival of Trump's administration. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Please bear with me. There was some audio quality issues with this, not to the point where I needed to scrap the episode or anything. But even though, we were emotionally connected and we had a very great conversation, physically our connection, I suppose, was slow, and he ended up breaking up sometimes. And I had him reiterate the points that we couldn't hear, and I cut out some of the bigger portions of this, so I did what I could, and I hope you can bear with me and tough that one out. Try not to have this happen again. I don't like putting out non-quality work, but I think we can tough this one out. Just want to mention on the side, it's super hard for me and Lee to get together and talk about these subjects and try to breeze through them like they're nothing. When you're involved and in deep, like me and him are, in this political game that we call a constitutional republic, it's hard for us just to say something and just move on when there's certain details and key factors in these situations that deserve our attention, and we try to bring this to light as best as we can. And so with that being said, there's another full episode of me and Lee talking. And it deserves your attention because it highlights a lot of key factors and it destroys ideological standpoints like it always does. So please welcome me, welcoming him, and enjoy the show. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Hello there, everybody. Episode 19. The guest for today is going to be Mr. Lee, and it's been too long, Lee. I'm glad to have you back on here. We've missed you. I've missed you, and so we're gonna tackle some things, and we're gonna do a lot of things like we usually do, but we're gonna do it in a more stylistic approach. It's this. Please don't get it wrong. We're going to criticize our own group because we all know, Lee, right now that we definitely need a change in the way that we, as maybe I'm saying, as more of a left intellectual thinking and trying to move our agenda forward. We need to rethink our paths forward. Right? Would you agree to that?
To an extent, I think the left in the U.S. has the good ideas, but they also have good ideas, unlike the right, which generally doesn't have good ideas. But we have our bad ideas too.
Okay, exactly. So how you been, Lee? Tell everybody how you been, what you've been up to, if you've been up to anything.
Oh, I've been fantastic. Mostly in my free time, which is quite abundant. I read copious amounts of books, and I just finished a fantastic book called My War Gone By, I Miss It So, by British war correspondent Anthony Lloyd, who earlier this year got shot twice in Syria. So
yeah, you said a funny story to me about that. You said the guy that shot him or something. What was that about?
Oh, that's perfect considering where we're gonna go with this conversation. Anyways, I cannot believe it did not occur to me. Okay, so this guy, Anthony Lloyd, he's older now. Like he might be in his 50s. But yeah, so he's been covering conflicts since the 90s, and his first book, was his time in Bosnia. But nowadays, there is no war in Bosnia, so he's in places like Syria, and he actually, okay, so he's been there several times in the past, but this is supposedly like his 11th or 12th time, I can't remember exactly, to go to Syria and cover the conflict. Basically, this guy, a Syrian guy who he had actually relied on in the past, believe it or not, shot him twice, and now is apparently, according to Anthony Lloyd, on the CIA's payroll in Syria. Yeah.
Holy fuck. Okay, so
yeah.
we're going to be really nihilistic. It's 12 days out from the election. What a great election. Not really, but I feel like it was yesterday. I'm still really bitter about it. I really truly believe, we're all fucked in especially mine and your political aspirations are they're getting tabled right now because the best that we can hope for from here on out for the next 4 years is gridlock. That's the best that we can hope for. Because any move in this administration's direction is a regressive movement back upon such little things that we tried to accomplish in our short time in power. And they're going to get rolled back. So we're all going to die horrible deaths. Yeah, we're going to be raped too, which is, it's not a good thing, but it seems like it's going to happen. So what is your take on that? What is your take on the Trump presidency, man? How do you feel about this? You feel excited?
Oh, Jesus, dude. I couldn't feel more dread, to be honest. I mean, I can barely believe it happened. I mean, we got this guy who, literally, at the time of the election, had 2 class action lawsuits against him. He, paid out recently for the Trump University one, so that's done. But not only that, but this guy was recorded saying he grabs women by the vaginas without even asking, and he actually said without asking. So there is no ambiguity there. There is none. It's sexual assault. He owned it.
He did own that shit. He owned that shit like a motherfucker, and God damn, what a disgusting individual. I mean, fuck. I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's
and
our fucking president, man. Oh, he's
and me and yeah, unfortunately. And me and you, we've been having a lot of conversation tonight. When I brought up, and everybody should definitely get a chance, if they get a chance to watch it, they need to watch Oliver Stone's Untold History of the United States on Netflix. A fucking brilliant masterpiece. Lee would definitely second me on that notion.
Oh, yeah.
And, we were talking about our hand in global politics for, the past 80, 85 years. And it's sort of been under this whole, what Trump would call swamp, right? It was always by these political elites, people who've been in the government for a long time, and they did horrible things. They did absolutely horrible things. We were talking about Vietnam and the 3.8 million Vietnamese that were just completely squandered, while 55,000 of our own men were completely killed and murdered off. And we were talking about going into South America and the things that we say that we're for, like spreading democracy. We literally put our hand in that machine, and we literally said, no, fuck democracy. We're not going to let somebody get elected who we don't agree with. And so, and then, you started talking about certain things of like MK Ultra, where they would force psychedelics upon unwilling people, and people who thought they had a glass of water, they'd end up finding they were dosed with 12 doses of the purest form of LSD on the fucking planet without having any prior notion of this. And then watching them and then fucking, drawing scientific data off of their reactions off of these insane drugs that they didn't know that they were going to get. That's highly unethical and immoral. And then you started bringing up, Lee, the fucking whole thing in the Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
Oh, yeah.
Something that I had no idea about. I didn't even know that a government could be capable of doing such horrific shit to people. But this is not a conspiracy. This is not a fucking thing that was written about in a book. This is legit shit. And it says right here, I'm reading from Wikipedia, so if anybody wants to go there and double check me, and I know it's not the most credible source out there, I understand that, but a good source nonetheless. But it says right here, the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male, also known as the Tuskegee syphilis study or Tuskegee syphilis experiment, was an infamous clinical study conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the U.S. Public Health Service, studying the natural progression of untreated syphilis in rural African American men in Alabama under the guise of receiving free health care from the United States government. And if you go there and you see pictures of a doctor drawing blood of Tuskegee test subjects, and it even goes on to say this crazy shit. Investigators enrolled in the study a total of 600 impoverished African American sharecroppers from Macomb County, Alabama. Of these men, 399 had previously contacted syphilis before the study began, and 201 did not have the disease. The men were given free medical care, meals, and free burial insurance, wow, thank you, for participating in the study. After funding for treatment was lost, the study was continued without informing the men that they would never be treated. Holy fucking shit. I don't even understand how we even go forward from such a shit like this. And this was done under the swamp that he talks about, that he reads about, which I have many problems with myself. But you're talking about such an immoral man that literally wants to grab women by the pussy, and he brings about this amazing facade that a lot of, fucking people love for some reason. Imagine the crazy shit that is going to be done in this administration. Lee, you had a lot of comments on that, and you got to take it away, man. You got to.
Okay, so all right, like Dion was saying, the U.S. government has done countless extremely questionable things in its history. So, most major powers have. In fact, any country that has gained any sort of power, particularly international power, superpower status, has done its share of shitty things. But you can't just say is exceptional or winner, and just push the egregious shit under the bed. Like, that's not how it works. So you got shit like that, but this incoming administration is exactly the sort of administration that I could see doing all manner of egregious shit of that nature, because of the fact that it's run by fuckers like Donald Trump and Pence. You can't get more pathetic than that. You got a guy who advocates aborted fetus funerals.
Literally, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. Like, how fucking backwards. Like, goddamn. Like, recently, either earlier today or yesterday, I was reading that Trump is completely against federal student aid, not AIDS. He's completely against federal student aid. So really what that means is, if you want to, pay for your college education, you're going to have to take loans from fucking private companies. And as bad as it is now, and it's pretty fucking bad, people who are massively in debt, just tons of them, it's a huge issue. It's going to be so much worse if this fucker goes through with this, which it might not happen because it's a fucking stupid idea to begin with, so there might be some pushback, but just the fact that he wants to do that is pretty sad.
Well, so let's just take from the small history of the show that I had. I started this back in July, right? And me and you have already done 2 of the most incredible episodes on this podcast, which one was totally dedicated to climate change, which is a great one everybody should listen to, and the other one was dedicated to education and how fucked our education system and what we can do to improve it, right?
Right.
Well, each of our goals that we had in those simple podcasts, which, deserve a lot more thought and time into that than those podcasts, but they do give a good overview of the problem, and we try to figure out solutions to these problems. We have a guy that's already going to come in and just throw that podcast out. Like, he's not going to, like, do anything for the fucking federal student loan debt, He's not going to do anything for... Now he's trying to make these federal loans, privatized. So he's adding and he's compounding already before he even takes office to these issues that we've already talked about. He already wants to get out of the Paris Agreement, which is egregious. It is a it is a smack in the face to a country like Portugal or other countries who are like small as fuck and don't really have that big of a stage, but they literally are giving their whole economy over to renewable energy. But America, as a superpower and the dominant force in this world that it needs to be, and it is literally going to say, no, fuck that. You are that. I don't have anything to say about that. I really don't, because it blackens my eye, right? If I go out, and Americans need to understand this. You are going to go out in the international community sometimes, some of you will, and you're going to be judged by what the fucking leaders of your country do. And in some cases, they're egregious, insane things, and you got to bear the brunt of the looks, and you got to bear the brunt of the stares and the treatment. In some cases, and be looked down upon because you're a fucking American. Because my president literally denies science. He literally denies it. He doesn't believe it's an issue when it affects so much of us.
It's incredible. All this evidence. Just that living through the hottest years on record, climate predictions are just incredibly pessimistic, and yet we got people like Trump and the Republicans in general, to be perfectly frank, completely denying this issue. And the Paris Accords weren't even like these hardline restrictions on emissions. They were reasonable. Like, they weren't extreme by any stretch. In fact, I would argue they weren't nearly good enough, but they were something. And yet, apparently, they're too much for Trump's administration to even abide by. It's so fucking bad, man, because this issue is such a big deal. And for this guy to literally say, he actually said he would, quote unquote, rip up the agreement. So, yeah.
What an audacious, hubris individual. It just, because, this problem is very near and dear to me because, I'm not a fucking rich guy who can build a goddamn dam around my fucking house to stay safe from this. Like, this issue affects so many friends and family and people abroad that I will never meet in my life, and it affects them dearly. It's literally dangling their fucking life. And, maybe the president, and let's talk about this too, maybe the president just shouldn't even have a fucking say in this whole thing, right? Maybe we should leave, like, big things like this. Because, you even ask the Department of Defense, right? You go on the website and shit. You literally see climate change is the number one threat to national security.
Yes.
Second to terrorism. Did I say that right? No. No. Terrorism is second to climate change. So, and yet, for some reason, this executive branch, a buffoon can get elected now and just not believe in it and literally put millions and millions in the lives in the harm's way. Maybe the president just shouldn't be able to make those fucking decisions. Maybe we should rely on scientific data and fucking smart people to worry about that shit, because now electing a buffoon has real deadly consequences, right?
Well, you see, the thing is, in theory, it would be nearly impossible for somebody so incredibly stupid to gain the presidency. You would think, ideally, it would be nearly impossible for somebody like Trump, who just says blatantly false things on a regular basis, just lies, and quite frankly, barely even knows what we're talking about. Like, he didn't even know Russia invaded Ukraine. When asked about that, he said something to the effect of Russia will not go in to Ukraine, despite the fact that that had already occurred.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's fucking, and that's just one thing. Like, okay, so when asked about, I think it was either Hamas or Hezbollah, but I think it was Hamas. He replied to this vague ass statement that obviously indicated that he had no fucking idea what Hamas even was.
It's my God.
Man. Incredibly underread. I mean,
incredibly underread and incredibly egregious to smart intellects across the board. I mean, it offends everybody because, you know, you look at the appointee. Isn't Jeff Sessions? He's going to be the Attorney General.
I'm not sure exactly what role he's supposed to play, but I got it right here. But let's go ahead and talk about Jeff Sessions in general because of the fact that this guy's a fucking kook, man. Yeah, and he is the Attorney General. You're right, but this fucking guy has been known for his constant obsession with kooky conspiracy theories. Like, this guy actually has a kid up it. Like, this guy, there's no reason to pick this guy to be your Attorney General. He has this weird perception of the fathers, and he's one of those guys that pushes the, America, the Christian nation from the very beginning, mythology.
Yeah, a complete mythology, a farce in its fucking face, Judeo-Christian nation bullshit.
Right. When like half the founding fathers were deists and non-Christians. I mean, it doesn't take any effort to find that out, and it's undeniable.
Yeah.
Many of them, didn't claim Christianity. That's a fact. So to be pushing that shit and to be, the Attorney General of the fucking United States, I don't know, man. It's not good.
It's not good. But we've all, social media has given us a look into elections more than any other time in the past, and you've seen it because Jeff Sessions was a loyalist. He was a loyalist to Donald Trump from the beginning.
Yes.
So it's kind of like he was like, oh, because when he was denied a federal judge position back in 1986 for racist remarks, whether they were sought to be true or not, he still was denied that position. So, he kind of already felt like a failed man, and it seemed like this guy who, we have another swamp guy, another guy who's been around Washington, D.C. corruption for the past 35 to 40 years. The same people that Donald Trump railed against on his whole campaign about draining the swamp and making sure we change the government. And he brings this fucking guy who's been around Washington, D.C. for 40 plus years. And we just what I see from my perspective is I see an opportunist. I see this guy running out of options, getting older, probably not happy with his stature in life, and he sees an opportunity in Donald Trump to do something, so he jumps in the bandwagon at an early stage in the election. And he campaigns really hard, and he comes out in Alabama in full swing for Donald J. Trump on the basic fact and notion of when and if Donald Trump gets elected, he's going to have a position in the cabinet, and hopefully it's Attorney General because that's what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most fucked up things by far about this guy, and there's countless. I mean, there's the fact that he's just insanely Islamophobic individual, I mean, we're no fan of Islam. However, this guy, his rhetoric makes it sound like he wants a war on the entire Muslim realm. Like, if you walk up to this guy and you're like Trump and you're like, hey, what do you think about invading Algeria or like Morocco? Does that sound good? I cannot see this guy saying, no, that's fucking stupid. I really, this guy is a fucking idiot. Okay, so at one point he actually he said about the Ku Klux Klan, saying that they were okay until he learned smoke marijuana. That's real.
Okay, can you repeat that for everybody? Because you broke up really bad right there.
Okay, all right. This guy, supposedly this was a joke, but he at one point said that the Ku Klux Klan he thought the Ku Klux Klan were okay until he learned they smoked marijuana. The Ku Klux Klan was okay until he learned that they smoked marijuana. That's supposedly a joke, supposedly, but he actually said that.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. This is getting crazy. This is just getting wrong.
I know.
Really quick here. And so you hit on a point, right, that I want to definitely go into is like you said already, we're not fans of Islam. You know, we're not at all. But not me nor you is calling for a war on Islamic people and countries just by the mere fact of their religion. That's insane. You're literally trying to fight an ideology with bullets and guns, and that's not how you like fight an ideology. You know what I mean?
Right. It's
more complex than that. It's anything that ends with a phobia like is not my bag, son, because I don't believe anybody should be afraid of anything, and I believe if you make a decision off of fear, 9 times out of 10 it's the wrong fucking decision. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So misclassifying people, misclassifying countries on the basic that you're afraid of fucking Islam is ridiculous. As terrible of a religion as it fucking is, we can all agree on that. Well, me and you can agree on that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've never been a fan, and, you know, like, for example, Bill Maher, he's constantly, and Sam Harris, I'll use Sam Harris as an example. He's constantly dogged and ridiculed and, you know, accused of being like a bigot for his views on Islam. And I agree. I agree with Sam Harris, not his detractors, that Islam is fucking awful. But Sam Harris isn't the guy to advocate a war with a fucking country. He's not a war hawk. But this guy fucking is. Not only does he dislike Islam, but he fucking apparently hates the people altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what we talk about all the time, is the fact that you can have beef with an ideology. You can have beef with the thought process of another human being and not hate that human being for having that thought process. And people that, you know, because that's what Sam Harris is, and he's misclassified 100%, man. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit to call him a racist. That's bullshit to call him an Islamophobe, when all he does is he just calls out these crazy notions that Islam puts forth, and he says, no, that's fucking immoral and it's stupid. That's all he says. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's being racist to a people. I don't think that's being even mean to somebody. I think in the realm of ideas abroad, whether it be a religion idea or a political idea or philosophical idea, in the realm of ideas, everything deserves and is prone to skepticism, to questions. And if your idea or your presumption on the world cannot be questioned without you shouting a name at somebody and labeling them as a racist and such, then apparently your idea isn't really that strong to stand on its own. Because it should be able to stand on its own.
I agree. I mean, like it's amazing the detractors and how they smear Sam Harris with all this bullshit about how he hates Muslims when really you know he's just blatantly honest about his opinion on that faith. I mean, I just I don't see what's wrong with that. He's not advocating war with these people. He's not advocating, forcing them to convert to some other religion or to, become atheists. He's not. He's just saying that he hates their fucking faith because of the shit in it that he doesn't like.
Yeah. Now give your take on the Muslim registry that Donald Trump wants to partake in. What do you think about that? Is that a good thing for the country? Because I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a stupid Republican. Oh shit! I probably should have said that. Oh shit.
Oh Jesus, dude. Well, okay. So I think that's fair to say that because no reasonable person, be they a Democrat or a Republican, is in favor of a fucking no Muslim fucking uh, visa exclusion system or fucking a Muslim registry. That's fucking insane. Like, there's not a single reasonable person in favor of that. So I think it's mostly delusional because the fact that the whole concept of America is freedom of religion. Like, was created at a time when that's what people wanted. I mean, or freedom to not practice any religion. That was part of it too, I'm sure. I mean, George Washington was a deist, not a Christian of any denomination. There's no quotes that are actually attributable to him as claiming Christianity. So, maybe he wanted treat for partial. Obviously, there's back in Europe. There was no choice not to be a Christian. I mean, in several European countries, or maybe even all of them, you had to be either a Protestant or a Catholic, and if you weren't, the mainstream denomination, you were a heretic. So that's kind of like the whole idea of America. And to say, okay, well, like, disregard all that shit on the Statue of Liberty. You need this particular Sky Daddy, which is actually identical to our own Sky Daddy, and is, even has the same prophets, like fucking Jesus, Saul, the list goes on. Same fucking prophets, very similar religions. To say that, okay, so since you have those ideas in your head, which aren't necessarily violent, obviously there are Muslim extremists, but they're not all violent. You can't come into the country. That's the antithesis of what America is. Let's be honest.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, even you look at even James Madison, a writer of it. He was an outspoken Christian, and he was a huge advocate of the no religious test, which Donald Trump is 100% for. And it's like you can't do that. I mean, like you said before, America was built upon getting out of the Anglican Church of England. And they didn't want to be told what the fuck to believe, and they wanted to be. That's the beautiful idealistic thing that America was set up upon is freedom of belief. So why? I don't know if people want that anymore. Really, I really don't think that the general public want that anymore. I don't think they want to be free to believe whatever they want, as long as they feel so comforted, safe, and content in their little bubbles of fucking reality. Because clearly that's an attack And we you're more into this than me, but foreign policy speaking, the implications of such an audacious thing to the Muslim religion, which does have a lot of people, like 1 billion people, right?
Yeah,
So
well, over a billion.
you're sending a message to 1 billion people of the world, like, fuck you guys. Like, how is that good for America?
It's amazing, really. I mean, this guy has appointed, a fucking chief strategist who has links to far right groups in Europe, like AfD, Alternative for Deutschland. Like, these are groups that are neo-Nazi groups in almost every way conceivable. I mean, they've had to clean that up to a certain extent now that they're, running on a national level. But like groups like AfD, to have supported groups like that, and I'm talking about Bannon.
Okay, yeah, yes.
I mean, he is a supporter of groups like AfD in Germany, the Front National in France. These are extreme far-right groups with anti-Semitic shits. And so this guy, I mean, look, if you read any Jewish news website or magazine or newspaper, they're covering this guy. He has a history of anti-Semitic statements. He's a proud member of the alt-right. Like, there's no reason to be okay with this, really. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. So, with this guy, you have the Anti-Defamation League calling him out, and with people like Jeff Sessions, with people like fucking
Rudy Giuliani. Oh my
yeah.
God. Some of the people that he like literally sat down to meet with this week was insane. I mean, he met with Ted Cruz for the attorney general spot.
Yes.
How could you even consider in your fucking wildest imaginations? Why would that name Ted Cruz even pop up?
How does that even fucking like?
How is that idea formed in a fucking human brain? This guy is the biggest loser, non-spineless fucking coward on the face of the whole entire fucking political spectrum planet, and you want to talk to him about the attorney general position? Holy fuck!
It's so fucking ridiculous, man. I mean, and his whole cabinet shaping up like this.
It is. It's fucking. It's devastating. I've always told people before too. During this election, it's like Trump's not even the scariest guy. He's just the guy that doesn't really know what the fuck to do, and he's trying to get input. And all these people who are going to give him input are the sleaziest of dirtbags who have just so probably pissed off, that they fucking lost their positions in the George Bush administrations and the Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush administrations. So now they're crawling out of the grave of their zombified fucking crony capitalism caves, and they're just coming out and like flying like bats and like, telling Donald Trump how to fucking destroy the middle class and how to literally fucking rape the fucking poor women and minorities across the board in every sense of way possible.
it's ridiculous, man. Because like I've talked to people, particularly, and some easy about the that Trump has his borderline rape advocacy. I mean, they're worried, I mean, you've got a president who has literally claimed to have sexually assaulted women, and not only that, but has been accused by 12, including his former wife, who literally said that he raped her.
Yeah, former wife, and just, wow, man.
I mean, that adds up, like, I'm reluctant to just accept sexual misconduct allegations. I really am. Like, for example, Julian Assange, she was hit with that shit, in Sweden.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I believe it, but he's hit by 12 from separate women, even claimed it at one point. I would probably believe it.
Oh yeah, 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 and that's a good point, dude. That we should definitely make to the listeners is yeah, dude. That there's sexual conduct cases, man, where we have a society like trigger that in every single case of sexual misconduct and shit, like we always kind of assume the male is wrong, like given no circumstance or given no prior engagement or prior involvement. Like, a woman could literally have sex with you and get mad at you and call the cops on your ass and say that you just sexually assaulted them. And the cops are automatically going to assume that you did that and now you got that on your record. So, yeah, the same thing with the Julian Assange thing. I mean, and what did he do? He like, had sex without a condom, and that's like rape or something, right?
Some to that effect. It's been a while.
Yeah, yeah, it's something, yeah, definitely to that effect. And it's just like, that's fucking nuts. That doesn't make any sense to me, but because it takes two to tango, but whatever. But when you have women like who come out en masse against Donald Trump and they're all saying these like that one girl who said that those detailed things, I was like, what the like
Yeah.
it just sounds like him. Like it just sounds like something he'd fucking say.
Oh God, I know. I remember reading those things, man. I mean, God damn, dude. Like,
This guy is president of the United States right now. Well, not right now, but he will be. In
I
2
know,
months.
man. It's unfortunate.
So we gotta come to the group and we gotta already tell the people, man. How do we move forward? And one of the ways that we move forward is we stand in solidarity with one another. We make
Oh
sure
yeah.
we make sure that we help out certain organizations like the SCLU, the ACLU, goddamn it, the ACLU, the SPLC. I mean, we got to help these organizations out. We got to get the word out there, and we got to stop with this whole notion of making up fake ass problems. Like we both were talking about before the show, cultural appropriation,
Oh
and
God.
how much
Yeah.
of a non-issue that is, but it's such an issue on the left, and it shouldn't be a fucking talked about or even wondered about. It's ridiculous.
Oh God. It's amazing, man. That people are even talking about cultural appropriation. I mean, fuck yeah. Um. Okay, sorry. I just fucked up my headset there for a second.
Whoa.
But we're good. Okay, so yeah, cultural appropriation. We're literally talking about a supposed issue, which is literally somebody. It can be as simple as somebody dressing up as a fucking ninja. That can qualify as cultural appropriation.
And what
I
is that?
mean,
What is that called? You're triggered or something? Isn't that what that
oh
calls?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. You can go. Oh, well, that triggers me. You can do that. That's apparently a thing. I mean, I've never been on those highly liberal college campuses that validate that. But yeah, that's apparently how that works. And so, like for example, there's all this outrage over things like, okay, so dressing up for Halloween as a Native American, which is it's just pretty much in poor taste. However, let's say for example you're doing it because you might have a fraction of Cherokee blood. There really shouldn't be an issue. There really should not be an issue if, I mean, you're not demeaning Native Americans. You're really not. You're fucking just, it's Halloween.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a problem to, some people on the left. And typically, I think it's mostly, I don't think any national figure is going to make a big deal out of it, but just as some of us are wasting our time thinking about cultural appropriation is not good. Not good.
No, it's a waste of time, and people they have to be debated vigorously now. Me and Lee, man, we got to get out there. We got to start debating people. That's just how this has to happen. Because I mean, I'm no matter how stupid the idea that someone proposes, man, I'm not gonna like run away from it and like claim like I need a safe space from it. Like I'm just gonna battle it head on. I don't. We got a lot of work ahead of us, man, and we're down. We're hurt. We're knocked down, man, right now in the 12th round and shit. And if we don't get up and start swinging for the fences, we're going to be put in jail, dude. I mean, literally, the shit that we have already said. If Donald Trump wants to start, clamping down on free speech, big names such as like the Young Turks and other alt media websites, like maybe the Caspian Report. Who knows? Who knows where this administration is going to go and on free speech and critique. He already hates the media. He already wants to quote unquote undo federal libel laws, which don't even exist. But whatever, I don't know what the fuck that means. But he already doesn't like to be criticized, and he's going to be criticized vehemently. We already see that with the protests that are happening now. So we gotta get together with the community and with people that think not exactly like us, but people who share in common morality and ethical thought processes. And we gotta go to war. We gotta go to war.
We really do, man. I mean, it's a bad situation. We really are. I didn't see this coming. Obviously, we both supported Bernie, even though we knew there was a very real possibility that he wasn't going to get the nomination.
Yeah, so, we're both far. And let's just be honest. Let's be honest right now. Let's just put all the chips on the table. In real, true speaking terms, me and you are radicals.
Oh yes.
Because we want big change, and we want it now. We don't want it fucking 20 years later. We want it now. So, to sit here and try to pussyfoot around it, man, yeah, I was 100% on board because the majority of Bernie Sanders' standpoints were a fucking overturn of Washington, which the Trump supporters wanted in essence too. And now the Trump supporters, because they were duped into believing a dipshit, they're not going to see an overturn in Washington. They're going to see a power grab like none fucking other. We got literally no branches of government in control right now. House, Senate, Executive, Judicial, 100% Republican, Christian extremism bullshit. And they are going to run shit how they see fit, and they don't give a fuck about what we think. They don't give a shit about what we think.
They don't, but they also don't give a fuck about the facts. They don't give a fuck about what makes sense. They don't give a fuck about science. So it's amazing, man. Quite frankly, I think Canada is a fucking fantastic option for people, who have the money to make it happen. Because, look, I agree that people have to stay and fight. And, there are good politicians, but this is going to be quite a fucking battle. And, it's also possible that this administration is such a catastrophe that it invigorates the left. So there might be a light at the end of this tunnel, but in terms of climate change alone, I mean, you can reverse the fucking this guy's ridiculous tax plan, which is going to deprive the federal government of unbelievable amounts of revenue. You can reverse that. It would be incredibly difficult, but you can reverse that. But things like discarding the Paris Accords, just deregulating the fossil fuel industry to a point where it can put out as much CO2, as much pollutants as it wants. Just completely deregulate these industries and let them do whatever the fuck they want. You cannot reverse the damage that's going to be inflicted by these decisions. So, things are bad.
Absolutely. And, we got a couple things that we can combat, Sue, these things. Lee, I want you to give me... It's very important to get good information, right? We both agree with that bad information is bad and we shouldn't take it and believe it just because it fits with our worldview. We should question it. So can you give the listeners a two-step process into making sure that a thing that they're reading is somewhat logical and real?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so basically, it's all about the source. For the most part, you're going to be safe with any major, pretty much any major news outlet that's ever got a journalism award. So that's the majority of them. But even then, not always. For example, you can never really trust Fox News because it's never gotten a decent journalism award. You know, even MSNBC has gotten a few. But no, Fox News never a decent one. I mean, not a single one that I respect. But beyond that, there are fact-checking websites, and they're very reliable. They're very reliable because not only do they give you a verdict, they break it down. I mean, PolitiFact and Snopes even, those sites will digest the information and explain why it's false, and they're not skewered. I mean, I've researched a lot of things that politicians have said, and even if it's something that is critical of a politician I like, I've looked into those allegations on, you know, PolitiFact or, you know, other similar websites, and sometimes it's true. Sometimes these statements are true, and they, you know, these websites explain why. So if you got that, then, you know, there's it's almost certain that your source is valid. You know.
So pretty much accreditations from, you know, legit places of journalism awards and stuff like that, and
And you know, just PolitiFact. I mean,
yeah, okay, fact checking websites. Okay,
right.
that's good. Yeah, that's a very good thing. So we all need to get on board with that, and we need to have another sit down and conversation too, man. But we gotta wrap this up, and you know, give me some predictions, man. Give me a couple predictions.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, get ready. So obviously, the wall isn't happening. That was a fucking ridiculous idea. Logistically insane, incredibly expensive, just stupid idea. So there will be no wall. He might go through the double fence, but there will be no wall. So he's just not another prediction. So I don't think he's going to repeal Obamacare. I really don't. We'll see. You can make fun of me if he does, and I encourage you to do it. And I'll like it, and maybe even heart it if you call me out for being wrong. Do it on social media and put my face on it. But I don't see him repealing Obamacare. And if he did, he'd replace it with something stupid. He wouldn't replace it with something good like single payer, like they have in Canada. He wouldn't replace it with something good because he wants a corporate scheme, which is incredibly expensive for the federal government and is inefficient. So it'll be something similar to Obamacare. And lastly, I don't see a complete Muslim ban happening. That's insane. That's utterly insane. I live in Mississippi and I see Muslims on a nearly daily basis, believe it or not. So no, I don't see that happening. That's stupid. And if it does, it's completely unconstitutional. So he should be impeached. So yeah, those are my predictions, and there's more. There's more things he said that are just insane, and they're complete lies, but they're not criminals.
So yeah, I mean, those are some good predictions, man. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, and I'm looking forward to being one of the people that's gonna make fun of you when Obamacare is repealed. But
Feel free, and I will be fucking crying. I'll be fucking crying, but I encourage you to do that because quite frankly, the situation will be so dire when we get fucking trial, which is basically just charged to death and premiums to do fun. We make fun of on the internet will not be a major issue.
yeah, absolutely. So So let's go to the grindstone. Okay, we're gonna regroup here, and we're gonna get back together. But thank you all for listening. And you want to say goodbye to the listeners?
All right, guys. This is a goodbye, and this is also a call to actually vote in 4 years. Let's vote this fucker out. Let's make it happen. Let's not let this guy get a second term. Okay. All right. Bye.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And let's vote in 2 years too. The midterm elections are very vital.
Oh,
Let's get out of mass and
yes.
let's because we got over a vast amount of House seats up for re-election. So we got to get working on that. Yeah. Good night, guys, and as always, much love, homies. Bye.